Today we're doing an upper body dumbbells only follow along workout. You can do this in the gym or from home. This workout is best for individuals who want to focus on general strength training and hypertrophy. All you need to get started for this workout is a set of dumbbells and a bench if you have access to one. On the screen you'll see the sets, reps, and exercises, and I'll also be talking you through the tips as we follow along in the workout. Let's get started, but first I want to tell you about our coaching group that is opening on Monday, January 1st. It's going to be an awesome group, but the timestamps are listed below if you want to skip to the workout. If you want to join our new private coaching group, we are opening it soon and I'm so freaking excited about it. One of the many perks that you get access to in the group is our modifiable training, nutrition, and habit tracker via Google Sheets. Through this tool alone, you can track your monthly workouts, track your progress in strength from week to week and month to month, keep yourself accountable by checking off the days you achieve your daily, weekly, and monthly habits, shop for groceries with a budget, plan your meals using your grocery list. There's also a food database for all of your favorite grocery items and prices and the benefits of those foods already stored. In addition to that, there's an exercise library with access to video tutorials and a 1 rep max calculator, which is very helpful in determining whether you're making progress, especially when you're not constantly testing your strength. You'll also get access to your meal log and self check-ins. These are things that I use more so with one-on-one clients to help determine whether they're on the right path, but this is something that you can completely do on your own with self-accountability as well, and you'll learn more how to do that within the group. So with that, if you are interested in signing up, head to flexclub.fit to learn more about joining our accountability group. You can also learn more about one-on-one coaching there, and let's get into the video. We are starting out the workout with a dumbbell chest press. This will be superset with a dumbbell overhead tricep extension. And to superset really just means to do 2 movements back to back without resting. So we will be doing the chest press back to back with a tricep extension, and then from there we are going to rest. So we are doing 8 to 12 reps. With this, we are just going to choose a weight that feels moderate to heavy for the 8 to 12 rep range. The last 2 to 3 reps of this movement should be challenging with the weight that you are choosing. And because this is a superset, we're going right into those overhead presses without rest. If you're doing this workout from home and only have access to a few different sets of dumbbells, you can do this movement with 2 light dumbbells, 1 light dumbbell, or even 1 heavy dumbbell. And if you only have access to 1 light dumbbell, you can perform it similarly to Brian. You can also just choose to do single arm. Or you can hold 2 light dumbbells and perform it like I am, and you'll also hold it very similarly if you have 1 heavy dumbbell. After you've taken about 60 to 90 seconds of rest, if you need a little longer, you can take longer. If you need a little less, you can take less. But after you've taken your rest, then we're gonna get right back into our second set of this superset. And I want to really emphasize that resting is important. Don't just brush over the importance of resting. It actually makes a difference in the amount you're able to lift. It makes a difference in your performance from set to set. So really do make sure you're taking enough rest for yourself. And if you need a little bit longer, there is no shame in that. I honestly sometimes take up 2-3 minutes even on hypertrophy movements like these for rest. And we're going right back into our overhead tricep extensions. Now with overhead tricep extensions, these ones are tricky. You don't want your elbows to flare out to the sides. The way I try to explain this and visualize this for clients is, see how our elbows are pointing more in the direction of being forward? You don't want your elbows to flare out and point out towards the walls. So do your best to try to squeeze your arms towards your ears. You don't actually want to be squeezing your ears. Your arms shouldn't be actually touching your ears, but that's kind of what you want to visualize to keep your elbows and your arms and your shoulders in a steady, locked, and stable, safe position. We are moving into set 3. Chest presses, by the way, are one of my all-time favorite movements. I usually feel pretty dang strong in these. I was not this day. Brian and I, in fact, were not feeling strong this day. We had not worked out in 2 weeks and decided, you know what? This is the moment we are starting this series of Flex Club official content. But it's fine, and honestly, it's real. It is real life, and that's why I was like, you know what, let's do it, because you can see us in real time struggling with real movements. You can see me sometimes missing the 8 to 12 rep range. I don't know if that was one of those moments right there, but on one of these lifts, I only got to 7 because I overshot my numbers, and guess what? That happens. If it does happen, drop the weight down, adjust. It really, really, really is not that big of a deal. So this is us doing our real actual training with you guys, sharing it, walking you through it. I'm hoping that in doing this you can both see that there is really no shame in wrong form. You will see me and Brian helping each other with our form all of the time in real life. We're both trainers, we're both coaches, but also you'll see us struggling with technique at times. It is normal. It is human. We are not perfect, but you can always make improvements, and making improvements is fun. Making improvements is healthy. And if you're here and want to make improvements, then I'm so freaking excited. Welcome to the Flex Club channel. Now we're moving into our second superset, which to me means we're about halfway done. I know y'all are gonna argue with me, but that's what I tell myself. We're about halfway done at this point. We are starting our second superset off with incline chest supported rows. When you're setting these up, you want your bench to be set at an incline at about 45 degrees. But to be honest, you can really change up at what the incline is. You can get it almost parallel to the floor, and if it's fully parallel to the floor, then that's a seal row. So really there's no wrong way or wrong angle to row from, but for the purpose of today, you want to be at about a 45-degree angle. And you want your palms to be neutral, your grip to be neutral, so palms are going to be facing inward for this one. For the rows, you're going to go a little bit heavier with the weight. Now, when you're going into this second superset with the bicep curls, you want to go a little bit lighter, similarly to how the first superset worked. Heavier weight first with the compound movement, and then with these isolation movements, the smaller muscle groups like the biceps and the arms, that is when you want to go a little bit lighter. Make sure with your bicep curls, you're actually going all the way down. There are times and places for when you cheat the reps, but right now that's not really what our goal is. We want to go all the way down. We really want to try our best to get full range of motion if we can. When you're doing these rows, you want to make sure that you're pulling your elbows up towards the ceiling. I guess more so in this position, you want to pull it more towards your hips. You really want to make sure you keep your arms and your hands close to your body as you're pulling up. Squeeze those shoulder blades at the top, and that will help you to really try to feel and engage your back a lot more through this movement. If you're doing this from home, you can also replace this movement if you don't happen to have a bench. You can also do a bent over dumbbell row. You can also do a single arm row in replace of this movement. To be honest, in my normal everyday training when I'm not filming for YouTube, what my training looks like is I personally don't have a lot of sets of bicep work throughout my training. It's really just a lot of back work, and with that, because your biceps work when you train your back, I also get that benefit of training my biceps. I do recommend still getting in for joint health, getting in bicep work, but to be honest, you don't have to do a ton of isolation movements like a lot of bicep curls and tricep work. every single day to benefit and still stimulate those muscles and still see progress with your hypertrophy. I think if you're focusing on strength and if you're focusing on hypertrophy, it's really different. This is a hypertrophy based workout where we're really trying to focus on more of those isolation movements as well. So that's why you're seeing that structured in this. But I do want to say, in my everyday training, I really only train my biceps maybe with a total of 5 to 6 sets per month with 12 reps total. So I really don't train my biceps that much. And so ultimately, really how much you want to train each muscle group, how you want your training to be structured really does depend on your personal goals. Now, you're going to see the lower body workout next Saturday, so in a week. And you can follow these workouts every day, well, not every day, sorry, every week, and you will see progress if you add weight or if you add reps or if you add sets as well, and you will likely see progress as long as you are focusing on your technique and making progress there as well. But of course, this isn't necessarily structured based on your goals. Now, if you have physique goals or strength goals, you might want to modify the workouts a little bit to your needs. And I can also talk more about how to modify the workouts as well. And in our coaching group, which again is launching January 1st, we will also talk about how to modify your workouts. We really want to encourage people to strength train, and not only encourage people to strength train, but we want to encourage men and women to understand that they can train together. They can get stronger together, they can get healthy together, and they can do similar movements with different rep ranges, with different amounts of sets, with different amount of weight, and still see progress. It's really motivating to train with your partner, with a friend, with anyone, and we don't want people to think that women should be strength training any differently than a man should be strength training. Now, if your goals are different, then that's a different conversation, but just because someone is a man or a woman does not mean that you should be training differently with different movements. We can move our bodies in the same ways, and in fact, our joints need strength training to maintain their health in most cases, especially in such a sedentary society. So I really hope that this series that we're going to be doing really encourages you, because I just still to this day as a trainer, I'm so aware of how important it is for women, but I am so unaware of how outside of my health bubble of personal trainers and coaches that I'm in, that women are really still feeling like they have to do certain exercises or they can't do certain exercises simply because they are a woman, and that is not true. And so Brian and I are here hopefully encouraging you guys to get strong, to get healthy, to feel good. And also we want to spread the message that strength training can be about empowerment. It does not have to be about changing your body for anyone but yourself. It doesn't even have to be about changing your physical appearance at all. It doesn't have to be about changing your strength at all. It can quite simply be about training to feel good and be healthy and feel empowered when you wake up from your bed until the moment that you go to sleep, instead of doubting yourself every dang second of the day. And that's actually why I'm a personal trainer. With your overhead presses that we're doing right here, we want to make sure that we are trying our best to keep our wrists stacked under our elbows throughout the movement, and that when we come to our overhead press, that we are getting our arms as close to those ears, as straight as possible overhead, and try your best to not flare your elbows out to the sides too far. For this one, you might have to go a little bit lighter with the weight. You might not be able to go as heavy as you could with the chest presses and with the rows, for example. So those overhead presses, we're working the shoulders, and then we superset with the reverse flies, which this works the rear delts or the back of those shoulders. So I really like to pair these two movements, these two shoulder movements back to back. And with the rear delt flies, you'll definitely want to go very light with these. You could even practice these with no weight at all, and practice either leading up with your pinkies or with the back of your hand up towards the ceiling to help kind of cue targeting the back of those shoulders. I sort of play around with this if I struggle with engaging my rear delts because my traps tend to take over. And if you're someone who is anxious all the time and is always shrugging your shoulders, or just sit at a desk all day and always shrugging your shoulders there, then you might want to play around with how your arms are positioned or your pinkies and your hands are positioned. So you can try pinkies up, or you can try palms down, and really try your best to feel the back of your shoulders with that movement. All right, we are on our last set of our last movement of the day, well, second to last movement of the day, but our last superset of the day. One thing I want to point out, do you see how Brian and I slightly are arching our backs or opening our backs up a little bit? Oftentimes we try to avoid this during many movements, but in this particular movement, the way our hips and our shoulder blades are anchored down are creating a stable position for our shoulders, and this is actually an intentional thing if you are working with heavier weight. You can also do it safely without really overextending the way we are when you're working with lighter weight. But as the weight gets heavier, this is actually a safe thing that we are doing with our shoulders. It's really just to anchor our joints from our shoulders to our hips. And the last thing to note is that as you get closer to the end of the workout, you are more likely to experience compensations with your movements. Basically, you might catch yourself cheating the reps. You might catch yourself kind of shrugging your shoulders here, or doing things that you're kind of like, that doesn't feel right, but my body's kind of doing it. That happens as you get tired. So you can start to drop the weight if you start to get tired. You can also just move slower and more intentional with the movement, and you should be good. But that is the end of the workout. You completed it. Congratulations. Well, if you followed along, you completed it.
How you feel?
Here's Brian's review.
Best workout of your life. What'd you say?
I'm ready for it.
Ready for a nap. Well, that's... No, you guys, you're gonna feel so energized. Don't listen to him. It's gonna feel good.
No, that was exactly what we needed. That was perfect.